everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I have another book review for you guys, and it's going to be Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. This is the second book in the Last Hours trilogy. I just reviewed Chain of Gold, so now I'm doing Chain of Iron. And I know in that video I had said this review was gonna come in a couple of weeks, but I changed my mind and it's coming now, so thank you, you're welcome. I'm not sure. Unlike that review, this video is not going to be spoiler free. I know in that one I had like the first 15 minutes that was spoiler free, but there are just so many things I want to talk about that are specific, and I think this video would be 5 hours long if I did a spoiler free section. So it's just going to all be spoiler filled. So if you haven't read this book, or more importantly, if you haven't finished it, I would save this, read it, finish it, come back. Yes. So let's get into it because I'm really excited to discuss this beautiful baby. First of all, let's start by saying I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. It was great. I loved it. I did like it better than Chain of Gold, which shocked me. I did not expect that to happen. I kind of honestly expected this book to have a little second book syndrome. And even though, the spoilers are starting by the way, even though the plot didn't really kick in my opinion, until 200 pages in, that was okay. And I didn't really get second book vibes, if you know what I'm saying, because a lot of times second books have second book syndrome, and I don't know, I just didn't really feel that with this book, and I really loved it. This book definitely focused more on one-on-one relationships than the group as a whole, and I did miss the group scenes. The Merry Thieves didn't have that many moments, and just the friendship aspect was kind of missing. However, I ship Cordelia, or Jameson Cordelia, really, really hard. And I ship the rest of them too, but they're I ship them really hard. And so I didn't mind. Well, I did mind, but it didn't detract from it. Obviously I gave it a 5 out of 5, so what did? So kind of going off of that, it was less funny than Chain of Gold to me. I just know that I made a point of saying Chain of Gold is hilarious, and I really did, looking back, laugh so much reading that book, and it didn't have a lot of that going on in this one. There were a couple of moments, and some of them I'll mention, but it wasn't noticeable. It was noticeably absent. But I think that comes from the group dynamic wasn't as present, and so we didn't get the wit and the banter, and Will and Magnus weren't in this pretty much at all, so we missed their humor too. I mean, really, those two are the funny ones, so. All right, so going into it, let's talk about Jameson Cordelia. I really, really ship them. And I shipped them pretty hard in Chain of Gold, but in this book, man, my love for them just really deepened. And I was pretty frustrated by the end. I love them a lot. And I really liked how, even though he was still under Grace's spell and he was still wearing the bracelet, James was able to fall even more in love with Cordelia, and even kind of know that he was falling in love with her, even though he was under an enchantment. I just think that makes it 10 times better because it means he loves her that much. And just all their interactions. I mean, like, the wedding, I'll talk more about the wedding, but cute. He decorated the house. Oh my god, I was squealing. I really squealed so many times reading this. And he, like, decorated it as he knew she would like it. And then, like, he learned Persian. Oh my god, I literally teared up when I read that. When she found out he was speaking Persian. I was like, yes. And then the globe necklace on their 2-week anniversary. Like, that's when I knew. I was like, this man is really in love because it's a 2-week anniversary, you know, like, that's nothing. And he got her, like, this cute globe necklace, and he was like, because I wanted you to have the world. And I remember Snapchatting my friends when I read that, just absolutely freaking out over these two and all the, like, little domestic and mundane things they would do together, like eating dinner, playing chess, and just reading by the fire. Oh, I love them. I really do. I think I might even ship them more than I shipped Emma and Julian in The Dark Artifices, which is saying something. I just feel like I should point that out. Like, these two are working their way up my OTP list. And another thing, the nightmare trope. I love me a good nightmare trope. You know, one of them is having a nightmare and the other rushes in their night clothes, and wakes them up and comforts them. And we got that. We got that in this. And it was great. I knew when, like, their bedrooms were next to each other, I was like, are we gonna have a nightmare? And we did. And it was great. Even though, like, the nightmare was him killing people, we can ignore that part. On the back of that, James really frustrated me in this book. And I'm sure you can guess why. I mean, like, wearing the bracelet to the wedding, I was thinking to myself, if he doesn't take this bracelet off during their wedding, I'm going to lose my crap. And he didn't take it off. And I was pretty upset. I was like, my man. And I know he's enchanted. Like, I know that. But it's still, I was like, really, dude? And then kissing Grace, like, in their house the day after Cordelia's dad died. And again, I know she commanded him, but, like, dude. Oh my god, I was like, really, dude? Really? I just, like, snorted, like, anywho, that pissed me off. But it's okay. You know, it all worked out in the end. Another couple I wanted to point out, Thomas and Alistair. Alistair? I was really kind of nervous going into this about them because I really shipped them in Chain of Gold. Like, just the Paris flashback, I was like, wow, these two are cute. And I was kind of worried because Chain of Gold ended with Thomas finding out everything, like the full extent of what Alistair did to them at the Shadowhunter Academy. But after Alistair admitted to stalking him to try to get him out of being a suspect for the Shadowhunter murders, and they were, like, in the sanctuary, and their whole conversation was just so cute. And then they kind of hooked up, and it was great. It was great. It was really great. Again, I was pretty frustrated by the end, but the scenes we got, I liked. I can't wait to see what she does with them. Actually, I can't. I'm kind of scared to see what she does with them. Another couple, Anna and Ariadne. So cute. I really, really liked Ariadne in this book. Ariadne? Again, I mispronounce everything to do with the series, so I'm really, really sorry. think it's Ariadne. Okay, anywho, I really shipped them. I really liked Ariadne and her inclusion and how she's worming her way back in, and Anna's still like adamant about I don't want a relationship. But then like the end when Ariadne like stormed off and Anna stormed off. But then she sat down on the steps and put her head in her hands, and I was like, girl, me too, I feel that one. I just really, really like them. And I hope they end up together in Chain of Thorns. We'll see. Another couple. There are a lot of couples in this. Lucy and Jessie. We didn't get a lot of Jessie because he was like kind of dead in this book, but like they danced in the snow. That was really cute. That was really, really cute. And that's really the only scene I can think of that was, oh, and they kissed, didn't they? Yeah, that was cute too. They were kind of absent from like the last 100 pages, and Lucy's story just kind of dropped off with she brought him back to life. And I did like that she brought him back to life without using necromancy, and she didn't have to like dirty her hands, so to speak. I do think in Chain of Thorns there's going to be some repercussions, because I just know that you can't do that without having some kind of balance going on. So I do think there's gonna maybe be some repercussions, maybe not, because she's special. And I like that happened like pretty much just after Belial had said like, you're nothing, you're not important, and Lucy was like, actually I am, and she kind of like proved it to us. And I mean, I already believed her, but it was pretty cool that it happened directly after that to be like, yeah, F you. James isn't the only special sibling. So, and I feel like that power's going to come back into play, and she might resurrect some other people, maybe? Yeah, I feel like she's gonna use it again. And if she doesn't, I'm gonna be pretty disappointed. Okay, what else to talk about? Oh, I meant to come back to the wedding. I really enjoyed James and Cordelia's wedding. It was like the first 100 pages, so, and I shit them so hard, but I thought it was just really cool to see like, this is the traditional shadow hunter wedding we've been hearing so much about, and like Tessa and Sonia had done up the whole church, and it was so pretty, and everybody was there, and you know, Lucy like walked her down the aisle. That was really sweet. And Matthew watched James. That was really sweet. And oh my god, Jim played the violin. I was thinking like, if Jim isn't there, I'm gonna be mad. And then I saw like she heard the music, and I literally started crying. I was like, oh my god, Uncle Jim, I love him. And that was really like the only time we got to see him in this. But it was enough. It was pretty great. Will, let's talk about Will. There are a couple other scenes that when he was in this, he was hilarious. Like towards the beginning, when Will asked Tessa if he could chase that demon around after the party, and it was like the same demon from the Infernal Devices, and Tessa was like, sure honey, and he was like, can I please chase it? She was like, go ahead. And Cordelia was like, what is going on? And they were like, oh, they're old friends. Like, that was hilarious. And the fact that I just reread the Infernal Devices in January, and I knew exactly what they were talking about was so awesome. And it was so freaking funny. And I just found it so cute how he was like, can I please go chase the demon, Tessa? And she was like, sure, honey, whatever. It was so cute. I really, really liked that scene. And it was just a nod to all the Infernal Devices fans out there. And then when Will came back with the mortal sword to try Thomas and Alistair, and he like had it, he was swinging it around, and he like asked Thomas about Gideon's death. When Gideon was like under the influence of this truth spell, and Charlotte was like, Will, you can't do that. And Will was like, sorry. And Thomas was like, no, he definitely knows about it. That was hilarious. Like, he's using this, what has always been to us, this sacred, holy object that everyone hates and is so afraid of. And he's just like using it willy-nilly. And he was like walking around with it. And it was such a Will thing to do. And I just loved those two scenes. It really made up for his lack of presence in this. Wish we had gotten to see some more Tessa, but I mean, they were all gone. I really want in Chain of Thorns to have a Tessa and Cordelia like moment, or Tessa and James. I just want Tessa to be more involved, because Will always has all these interactions with everyone, and Tessa's either like not there or she's just like standing there. So I would really like to see like James asking her for advice, or her comforting Cordelia, or her like having a great little scene with Lucy. That's what I would like. All three of those things. Yes. There's those. Should I rant about Grace now? Maybe. Maybe. Let's talk about Grace. I know a lot of people like her after this book. I'm not one of them. I'm really not digging her at all. And the fact that like all the flashbacks were her point of view. And I understand she was like giving us context. And although I appreciate that I now have a better understanding of her history and her situation and the extent of Tatiana's abuse, I still hate her. Like, okay. Like, it's not just the fact that she is manipulating him, and I understand she had to do it to bring her brother back, and she was manipulated and abused, and I understand that. But James was like her only friend in the entire world. Her only friend. Because Jesse's her brother. Like, he's not her friend. James was her only friend in the entire world. And he wanted to be her friend before she ever used her powers on him. And then she went and did this. And I know Tatiana made her. But like, sis could have broken off that bracelet. You know what I'm saying? Tatiana's been in prison now. Like, girl, take it off. And I know she was going to, and then we had like that run-in. But I don't care. She really made me mad in this. And every time I saw her name, I just rolled my eyes. I'm interested to see what Chain of Thorns is going to be, because like I'm predicting it right now. Grace is going to be on the cover with her silver hair. And I mean, it's Chain of Thorns, so black thorn. And I'm interested to see what she does between Grace and Christopher, because like I mentioned in my Chain of Gold review, and I might link it in this video too, the Lost Family Tree shows Grace and Christopher together, and that they have kids and they get married. And I think I'm gonna assume that that's real, because the interaction was so like, here it is. Yeah, I don't know. That whole scene with her and Christopher in the laboratory was interesting, even though I hate her. And as of right now, like, I hope better for Christopher. Oh, I feel like I feel bad hating her, but I hate her. Maybe the redemption arc in Chain of Thorns will change my mind. Yeah, I'm just interested to see her and Christopher and how that plays out. Another person I grew to appreciate more was Alistair, because you can like hear this moving. I really loved him in Chain of Gold until like the end, and then I was like, I don't know how to feel about that. And I really like how in this book we got to know him a bit better, and like how his emotions show and how he like digests information. Like after Elias died, and just the confusion that Alistair felt towards having this man who he hated, but who's also his father, die, and he didn't know how to feel. And he's navigating his feelings for Thomas and Charles, but mainly Thomas. And he's trying to be there for his mother and her unborn child and be there for his sister. I don't know. I just really, really grew to love him a lot more. And as I said, I really hope him and Thomas end up together. And I also really liked, like, I'm pretty sure when they were in the sanctuary before this, the Institute, why did I want to call it the cathedral? Before the Institute was attacked, like, Christopher had, like, an interaction with Alistair, and he just, like, seemed to be okay with him. I'm pretty sure I remember that happening and me being like, so Christopher's okay with him. So I think there's hope there. Let's talk about some scenes, and then I'll talk about the number one problem I have with this book. Okay, so the scene between James and Elias, when Elias, I've been saying Elias in my head, Elias, when he asked James for money, oh my god, I was reading that in my car, like, not as I drove, in my mom's car, reading it in the car, and I just remember putting the book down and I was like, I have to take a break because this is intense and I'm scared for this conversation. And I really appreciate how James handled it, or tried to handle it, and he was able to recognize, like, this is not the man I want to be the father figure for my wife, because he, like, Cordelia deserves better. I really liked that aspect of it, that inclusion. And then he died, like, the next chapter, so that made it pretty interesting after that argument, that skerfuffle. And then, I'll talk about this later. Matthew, when he shoved James in the Shadowhunter market after he found out that James kissed Grace, I was like, do it, dude. I liked that. That was pretty funny and also sad. I think their relationship is really interesting, especially as it continues to change, and it's going to be even more interesting in Chain of Thorns after Matthew takes his wife and runs away with her. And now we all know that Matthew loves Cordelia, so it's gonna be pretty interesting. Another thing, I'm trying to do these scenes really fast. Cordelia saving James again with Belial and calling him, or saying, like, no one's taking him, he's mine, he's mine. Yes, queen. I love when she saves him. I think it's so cool. When she saves all of them, it's just, yes. Girl power, you know what I'm saying? I just love that part when she was like, he's mine. And then later, when the bracelet snapped off, I literally cheered. But then he, like, spasmed and blacked out, and I was like, what's happening? And then everything after that went to shit, and shit hit the fan. And, but that moment when the bracelet snapped off was awesome. A+. And James calling Cordelia my love. I remember Snapchatting my friends about that too, and being like, he called her my love. Oh my god. So sweet. So sweet. And then the last scene, specific scene I want to mention, is the confrontation between James and Grace. And I know, like, it had repercussions, and we can talk about that, but just, like, the scene itself with him being like, thank God we can end this farce, and her being like, what? And him being like, tell me the truth. And just that whole conversation was so intense and satisfying, and I'd been waiting for it for 2 whole books, and then we got it, and I was like, thank God. And he, like, locked her in the drawing room, and now he wants her to confess to everybody, and I think that will play a really big part in how James and Cordelia and Matthew and everybody react in Chain of Thorns. So I'm pretty excited for that. And now, what we've all been waiting for, my main gripe. And I know you're probably thinking she's going to talk about the miscommunication and everything, and I'll get there. Actually, my main gripe was the love triangle thing going on and how Matthew was treated in this book. Now, I still gave it a 5 stars, and it's still, in my opinion, I liked it better than Chain of Gold. But this really is like the one thing that I was like, and I realized it pretty soon after I finished reading it. And when I realized it and started reflecting, it really made me mad. And I saw it on Tumblr, so I know I'm not the only person who noticed it. Matthew, his whole purpose in this book was to sow discord between especially James and Cordelia, but even Thomas and Alistair. And I just can't get behind that because I love Matthew and he's my baby. And I've loved him since I read Tales from a Shadowhunter Academy. I love him, and I think in Chain of Gold, we really got to see like his potential and how complex a character he is with the whole Charlotte Shadowhunter market thing going on, which I finally remembered when he told Cordelia. I was like, oh, that's what they mean. I had completely forgotten that, but anyway, I just think he's such a complex, or he has the ability to be such a complex character, and he reminds me so much of Jason Magnus, and I just love him. And I think he could be really valuable. However, in this book, his only purpose was a plot device used to cause more drama. And even like with Thomas and Alistair, I could understand it and actually appreciate it because he's like the friend who hates Alistair, and he's who made Alistair realize like I will never be accepted by the people in Thomas's life, which I think is wrong, but I can appreciate that whole dynamic. The love triangle though, and I mentioned this before in my get to know me type tag thing. I don't like love triangles. The only love triangle I've ever liked is the Jim, Tessa, and Will love triangle because they all loved each other equally, and we actually all got to see them be happy together. And I think Cassie handled that beautifully. Like, that story is one of my favorites of all time. But in this, I just don't see the point. And I'm getting pretty mad thinking about it. Kind of, not mad, just like kind of disappointed. I just wish that for once we hadn't gotten a parabatai love mess. We've had it 3 times now, and I just think it's a little old. I thought it was kind of old in The Dark Artifices, but it was unique in that instance because Julian, they all have J names, oh my god. Julia and Emma were parabatai, and like they had actual like consequences for that. And Mark, even though it was a love triangle, Mark was like a fake instance, but there was still drama, okay, between parabatai. And then my other point would be, I mean, Will, Jim, and Tessa, love them, but it was still a love triangle between parabatai. And then in the Mortal Instruments, there was like a love hexagon between parabatai because Alec loved Jace, or he thought he loved Jace, like the first couple of books before Magnus. And so all of that is to say, I wish we could have just had 2 parabatai who supported each other and loved each other, and Matthew didn't fall in love with Cordelia. And I get it, she's awesome, like I would fall in love with her too, but I don't even think we really even needed to see him with anyone else. Like, not everyone has to be paired off. It would have been great to see him with someone else and to be happy, but not everyone has to be paired off. And I don't know, I just feel like it was a poor choice. I don't want to say that. I feel bad saying that. But I really hope she rectifies it in Chain of Thorns. All I know is that if Matthew and Cordelia do get together in any way, I'm going to be pretty upset because Cordelia loves James, and it's pretty obvious to me, and I think to everyone else, that Cordelia and James are going to end up together and they belong together, and Cassie wants them together. And so what's the point of having Matthew be this extra person? I don't ship them at all. I think their like friendship and his protectiveness of her is really cute. And I even think like, even if he hadn't been in love with her, he still would have been mad that James was breaking his promise to her and just dishonoring her and disrespecting her. He still could have pushed him. Like, I feel like if Jace were to disrespect Clary like that, Alec would have been mad at him and would have punched him too. I mean, it would have been the same. But he didn't have to be in love with her. And he could have taken her away to Paris and just been her friend. Like, that's my biggest gripe with this, is how Matthew was pretty much just a plot device and didn't really have anything else going on in this book. And the parabatai, I just wish there wasn't a love triangle. I don't think it's necessary. On top of, but going off of that, I do think it's going to be interesting to see how Matthew reacts to the like deal they made where he can't drink. I have been waiting for Cordelia to be like, listen, this is not okay with me because my father was a drunk. So, but I think that's a bigger conversation that everybody needs to have with him and that everyone needs to recognize. So, but I am excited to see how that plays out, I guess. And he, like, James now knows that Matthew loves Cordelia, and he knows that Cordelia knows that Matthew loves her. Yeah. It should be interesting. I hope it's not disappointing. Okay. So now that we're done with that, I actually had another problem, but it wasn't as big. The whole thing with Lilith. First of all, that plot twist took me by surprise. I'd actually written down in my notes, like, so glad we got to meet Waylon the Smith. It's so cool. I think he's gonna be a big player. Like, no, honey. That was fake. And I knew when Cordelia went to the Hell Rule and, like, the Fae... No. Was she Fae or was she a Shadow Hunter? Anyway, whoever asked to see Cortana, and then, like, after that was when she got the shock, I was like, that woman did something to it. So I did catch that, but I didn't make the connections. And then I had no idea Magnus was Lilith either. And then Jessie being the murderer, being possessed, did not see that coming. I thought it was Bridgestock. I thought it was the Inquisitor. So when all of that was revealed, I was really shocked. Like, chapter 22 to chapter 26, that was insane. And in a good way, though. It was, like, crazy. And but yeah, so saying that, I was really shocked. Lilith, I really hope Lilith, like, they solve that problem really fast, because if Lilith is another villain in Chain of Thorns, I'm gonna be kind of, like, disappointed, because we've already battled her. We spent, like, 2 or 3 books with her. Like, we know how she ends, we know what she turns into with Valentine, Sebastian, Jonathan going on, and I don't want to see her again. But I do think it's cool that the whole Cortana thing, that's going to be really interesting, because so far Cordelia has been, like, the warrior. She's basically Jace, and she's like Emma too, but, like, she's the warrior of their generation. She saves them all the time. And so it's going to be interesting to see her without Cortana and without being unable to pick up a weapon. It's going to be interesting, and I hope they solve it pretty fast. But I think that whole dynamic, and how, like, after that revelation, she was so despondent and so sad and hopeless, and it really added a lot of dimension to her character, mean, she was already pretty complex, but it was really interesting to see her handle that. And I'm looking forward to seeing it some more in Chain of Thorns and how it all wraps up. I also forgot to mention that we finally got to see Anna fight with the gang, which is what I wanted in Chain of Gold. And we got to see her in action, and I loved it. I was like, yes, Anna, yes. Okay. What else? Like, I feel like there's still so much more. I do like that the villains of these are princes, and I'm gonna talk about, I need to, like, my arm's cramping from holding this thing. I like that the princes of hell are kind of the villains in this trilogy. It's new, it's fun. I think they're gonna play a major role in the Wicked Powers. I don't know what to expect from that trilogy, and it's the end, so I don't know like how long they're gonna be or what all's gonna be in there. But I think definitely Asmodeus, who is Magnus's dad, is gonna play a part. But like, there was one conversation where they made the point of saying like the angels and the demons or princes are fighting, and the shadow hunters and humans are just pawns. And I thought that was really interesting because, like, if you think about it, pretty much, I mean, Sebastian was kind of relevant there. I don't know. I just feel like she made such a point of having that emphasized. So I think it's gonna come back in the Wicked Powers. And I'm scared yet excited because I like the princes. I think they're interesting. They're interesting villains. Yeah. Anything else I wanted to mention? Let me look. Not really. I think that's it, guys. I'm like looking at my notes right now. I did say I would talk about the miscommunication thing. Yeah, it was pretty frustrating. I knew as soon as James was like, stay here, and went to answer the door, I was like, she's totally gonna overhear them. And Cordelia did, and she ran away. And I don't like that trope. And it happens in like literally every book ever, every movie and every TV show ever, where the character hears their love interest. And it's like, if you had only stuck around for another 5 seconds, you would have heard the whole conversation. So that was pretty frustrating. But, you know, whatever. Yeah, and no couple ended up together except for Jessie and Lucy, and we haven't even seen them in like 100 pages. So are they really together? Who could know? I do have hope that everybody ends up together properly, hopefully, in Chain of Thorns. I don't know. I have a feeling. Listen, this is what I'm thinking. I'm really thinking Matthew's gonna die. Yeah. Like, we know the Fairchild line continues, but I don't know. His future is kind of uncertain to me. But I don't know. I think Matthew's gonna die. I really do. And I will sob. But I hope if he does die, we get some like actual good stuff out of him and not just him acting as a plot device. So yeah, the miscommunication and the whole ending, like, you had those 5 chapters where everything went crazy, and then we got like a brief reprieve, and then it just went back to craziness. And like the last little bit of this book was really quite something. It was a lot. It was like it was really a roller coaster. And I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Well, I didn't like it, but I like the experience. Maybe not what happened, but the experience. Yeah, I think those are all my opinions. My arm literally hurts. Sorry. Can someone explain what the bees are? Did I miss that? Or the moths? Did I miss that? Like, I was looking at it and I was like, it doesn't make sense to Can someone, or is it just pretty? I don't know. Thank you. Yeah, I think I'm done with this. I hope you liked this video. I hope to see you again. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what these moths mean if you know. Yeah, I want to hear your guys' opinions. Be gentle with me. Yeah, be kind. Let's all love each other. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope to see you again. Maybe, possibly, if you liked it, maybe possibly give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Maybe, possibly. Thank you. I'm gonna put it down now. Here come the guns. Yeah, I'll see you guys with some more Shadowhunter content, probably later this year, maybe. We'll see. We'll definitely see. I'm curious as to how things are going to progress. But I'm going to end this video now. I'm sure it's like an hour long. So, wait, what is it? Peace out. Peace out. Goodbye. In the video.